Hello YouTube, welcome back to Jerry's NBA Talk TV. I'm NBA Jerry, and thank you for watching. I apologize guys for not making a video in the last couple days. I've been really busy in my personal life. And I know I said that I will be answering the last two questions, but really they're kind of irrelevant right now. The questions I asked was about Charlie Villanueva and Kevin Garnett. I kind of really answered that. And also I asked you who you thought was going to win the Miami Heat in the New Orleans Hornets game. So, 3 or 4 games in passed since then, so really it's kind of irrelevant, and I apologize about that. What I'm going to talk to you guys about today is several things that's going on that I see around the league, and I'm going to talk to you guys about my power rankings. Basically, what I'm going to do is every Wednesday, I'm going to have a new power rankings each week in the NBA. And how I base it off of is who I think has the best chance of winning the championship and who I think would win in a 7-game series based on what I see now. So let's start with the Lakers. LA Lakers, obviously, they've lost a game now. They're not, invincible. Like Kenny Smith said, they're Hollywood sometimes. They get lackadaisical. But hey, Denver Nuggets is a good team. They won at home. So I have no problem with the Lakers. I still got them at number 1. Boston Celtics, number 2 in the league. They've been playing very well. They're clicking on all cylinders. The 2 losses that they have, I think they're based off of just schedule losses. The Cleveland Cavalier loss was a tough one. They were just coming back from beating Miami on a back-to-back. And also the Dallas Mavericks loss was off a back-to-back, the second end. So I have no problem with the Boston Celtics. And they look very good against the Miami Heat. So I got them at number 2. I still have the Miami Heat at number 3. And I'm going to tell you guys why. This is how I base it off of. If every team played a 7-game series against each other, who do I think would be the best teams in the NBA? I think right now, if Miami Heat played every team in the NBA but Boston and LA in a 7-game series, I think they would win. Even though they're 5-4 and they've lost 2 tough games, against Boston and against Utah. That Utah game against Miami, I've never seen a game like that. Millsap went crazy, Darren Williams went crazy, but Miami Heat obviously has a lot of work to do, but I still think if they played a 7-game series against anybody else but Boston and LA, I think they would beat them, and that includes the Orlando Magic. Speaking of the Orlando Magic, I still have them 4th. They suffered a tough loss against Utah too. The comeback kids, Utah Jazz, wow, they are playing incredible. So I still got them at number 4. They'll be fine. Dallas Mavericks still got it. I moved them up from 6 to 5. They're playing very well. They're clicking on all cylinders. They'll be fine. They're playing well. San Antonio Spurs, I still have Dallas slightly ahead of them because I still think if Dallas and San Antonio played in a 7-game series, I think Dallas would win. Even though San Antonio is playing pretty good, Dallas to me right now is still the better team. The Utah Jazz, I got them at number 7. Obviously, they're playing really good. They started off the season slow. They're 5-3 right now, but they're playing excellent basketball. The Portland Trailblazers, Brandon Roy's a little banged up, and I'm concerned with their bigs right now. That's why I moved them from 4th to 8th. I still think they're a very competitive team, but we'll see what happens when Brandon Roy gets better, and let's see when their bigs come back in late November and December. The New Orleans Hornets, still the only undefeated team. Now, some of you guys are like, wow, how do you have the New Orleans Hornets, who are 7-0, at the number 9 spot? Well, I'm going to tell you why. I had them at 13th last week, and I moved them up 4 spots. Okay, New Orleans Hornets are a great team. And they've had a tough schedule. Every team that they've beaten have been a good team, including the Houston Rockets. Even though the Houston Rockets don't have a good record, they beat them too. They won some good home games. The only team that they didn't beat that wasn't good are the LA Clippers. But, despite that, the New Orleans Hornets have some weaknesses. Their bench is not that great. Their center is pretty good, Emeka Okafor, but he's not a scorer. Chris Paul, obviously, right now is the early candidate for MVP. Trevor Ariza is playing real good. They're playing really good defense under Monte Williams. But I just don't think if they played in the 7-game series right now, they played the Blazers, Utah, San Antonio, all those guys up there, I just don't feel like they can beat them. Even though they beat them, a couple of these teams one game. They beat San Antonio and they beat Miami 1 game. That doesn't mean anything. The proof is in the pudding, and I really believe that New Orleans Hornets record will start balancing out. I actually didn't have them making the playoffs in the beginning. I had the Houston Rockets making the 8th spot, so if Yao Ming doesn't hurry up and get back, New Orleans may make that 8th spot. So who knows? But 7-0, it's a great start for them. But right now, they're still not up there in the top 4 or 5 teams, in my opinion. I got the Chicago Bulls at 10, at the 10th spot. They had a big game against the Golden State Warriors. They're playing excellent ball, and they're just waiting on Boozer to come back, and they're playing really well. Oklahoma City Thunder, They've been, slow out of the gate. Kevin Durant's not really shooting that good from the field. They're not a surprise team anymore. You can't expect this team to go from the 8th spot all the way up to the 1st or 2nd spot in 1 year. Remember, folks, they're the 8th seed in the West, so we'll see how they'll do. Atlanta Hawks. They started off 6-0 and they've dropped a few. It all balances out, folks. So Atlanta Hawks had a pretty easy schedule. The first 6 games, they pretty much played teams that weren't that good, and it's all balancing out now. Denver Nuggets, I have them at 13. They played an excellent game. They're over 500 now, beating the LA Lakers. Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde team. You don't know what you're going to get from them. They could look like the best team in the league one night, then they could look like the worst. So we'll see what they're going to do. Phoenix Suns, they're playing pretty good. They won a tough game against Memphis Grizzlies last week on a back-to-back. On the first of a home and home, they lost the second one to Memphis Grizzlies, but they've been inconsistent too. It's hard to come back and have a good season when you lose Amari Stoudemire. At 15th, I have the Milwaukee Bucks. They're starting off slow out of the gate, but they'll come up, and they'll still be the 5th or 6th best team in the East when it's all said and done. Golden State Warriors playing excellent ball. They got blown out against Chicago, but they're playing really good up-tempo fast ball. They're playing really good defense, and I'm loving the way Stephen Curry and Monte Ellis is playing in that backcourt. I really like that, especially David Lee up front. Memphis Grizzlies, they're playing good. They got a pretty good record. Memphis Grizzlies playing good. They're playing good team ball. They have one of the best starting fives in the NBA to me. But they're a little weak in the bench. We'll see how they do, but right now, I still don't think they're going to make the playoffs. The New York Knicks, I actually have them at 18 right now. They're balancing out. They're not 500. They have a lot of work to do defensively. When Mike D'Antoni's your coach, it's tough to play a lot of defense with that up-tempo style. But Amari Stoudemire is playing okay. I think he can get a couple of more rebounds and maybe 3 or 4 more points, but the Knicks will be fine. I still got them making the 7th seed in the East. Sacramento Kings, they lost a tough one at home to the Minnesota Timberwolves, and Sacramento's got a lot of work to do. But they're still a great team to watch, very, very fun, but still at the end of the day, as of right now, I still don't have them making the playoffs. Houston Rockets had a tough start. They had a rough schedule. Yao Ming coming back, this little project, him playing 24 minutes, and now him being hurt for at least a week. It's tough. I honestly think they're probably going to start winning without Yao Ming. I think with this limited role that he has, I really think it's messing up their rotation. If I was the Houston Rockets coach, this is how I'd play him. If they're going to play him 24 minutes, this is how I would do it. I'll play him the first 6 minutes of the game. Sit him down the rest of the first quarter. Okay? Second quarter starts, sit him out until the 6-minute mark of the second quarter, all the way until halftime. That's 12 minutes. Then halftime comes. Third quarter starts, I play him the 6 minutes, first 6 minutes, sit him down the rest of the third quarter, sit him down the first half of the fourth quarter. Then at the 6-minute mark, let him finish the game. That's what I would do. When he comes back, either they're going to have to do that or up his minutes a little bit, but we'll see. But Houston Rockets are definitely off to a tough start, especially with their starting point guard being hurt. That's going to hurt them down the stretch, but we'll see. Indiana Pacers playing 500 ball. They're playing good. Oh, my God. They had one of the greatest shooting quarters in NBA history. 20 straight shots they made in the third quarter against the Denver Nuggets. And this is what I'm talking about with the Nuggets. One night they play horrible defense against the Indiana Pacers, let them score, hit 20 shots in a row, and then they beat the Lakers a few games later. So it's heckle and jekyll, but this is about the Pacers. They got hot, obviously. They're not as good as it says. So we'll see. We'll see about them. Cleveland Cavaliers are playing really good basketball. They're surprising a lot of people. You got to understand, folks, they are a very proud group. They won 60-something games last year, and they still have a lot of those pieces left. Obviously, they don't have LeBron, but we'll see what happens with them. Charlotte Bobcats off to a very slow start. I'm very disappointed in them, man. I mean, with them losing Raymond Felton and Tyson Chandler, that is really hurting them. I didn't think it was going to hurt them this bad. So I had them making the 8th spot, but I don't know. The Cavs may sneak in there. Who knows? The Washington Wizards, John Wall is playing excellent basketball. He had his first triple-double. He's playing great. Gilbert Arenas is coming off the bench. He's playing good. JaVale McGee, I like what they're doing. Don't expect a lot from them, folks. This is their first year together with the new rookie. They're not going to make the playoffs, but they'll definitely be a fun team to watch at number 24. LA Clippers at 25. They have a very bad record, only 1 win this season. Blake Griffin's playing good, but there's so many inconsistencies with Baron Davis hurt and being out of shape. Now Chris Kaman is out. They're not very good defensively. Vinny Del Negro has a lot of work to do with this group. The New Jersey Nets. What can I say about them? They just won a game, a home-and-home, against the Cavaliers to make them 3-5. But you know, they lost 5 games in a row after going 2-0. So you know, folks, New Jersey's going to be fun to watch, and they'll have a lot of good games. But the bottom line is they won 12 games last year, so you know you can't expect them to make the playoffs. But they'll be a fun team to watch. 76ers, you know, I got them at 27th in the league. You know, I think they'll work their way up. Doug Collins will find a way to get Evan Turner more in the rotation. They actually beat the New York Knicks without Andre Iguodala, so that was a good. Evan Turner had his first start, so we'll see how that works with the 76ers. They'll figure it out. Detroit Pistons, I got them at 28th. I mean, they just look bad. You know, I'm sorry, guys. They just look terrible, but, you know, not much to say about the Pistons. I think they just need to blow that whole team up and start all over. The Toronto Raptors, I mean, they need a point guard, period. I like Jose Calderon, but he's just dropping off. Jared Jack is a combo guard. He's like a shooting guard. They need a point guard, and they need some leadership. Bottom line. Andre Bargnani's okay, but he's a three-point threat. They don't have anybody down low, and they just need they need help. Minnesota Timberwolves, somebody's got to be last. I picked them to be the worst team, and they're not disappointing. You know, Kevin Love is a great player. He plays under the rim, but he gets a lot of rebounds. Johnny Flynn is going to be coming back real soon. Minnesota has a lot of work to do, but the bottom line is they're the worst team in the NBA, so we'll see. All right, guys, I got a question for you. Here's NBA Jerry's question of the day. I was watching the Miami Heat game against the Utah Jazz the other day, and Chris Bosh didn't really impress me that game. Millsap had his career high in 46 points. He's playing really, really well. Here's my question, folks. In your opinion, and for their respective teams, not who's a better player overall, but for their respective teams, who do you guys think is better in their system? Chris Bosh with the Miami Heat or Paul Millsap with the Utah Jazz? Let me know what you guys think about that, okay? Thanks. All right, guys, I got some positive words for you today. Do me a favor, guys. In any situation that you're in, look at the positive side of it. Remember, you can only think one way at a time, either positive or negative. There's nothing in between. No matter what happens to you, you can turn out to be positive. So no matter what happens to you, remember, it's all about how you interpret it, and it doesn't matter what happens. Don't ask why it happened. Say, hey, what good can come out of this situation, no matter what it is. So stay positive, and I guarantee you guys, you have a positive outlook on life. Thanks, guys. Take care of yourselves. I'll talk to you soon. And don't forget, if you can believe it, you can do it. Thanks for watching. You guys know I appreciate it. And remember, folks, always, always treat people how you want to be treated, and everything will be okay. This is NBA Jerry, and I'll talk to you guys soon. Peace.